My name is Creighton Forsman. I'm better known as Pico. I built some early 19th century steamship models that plied the waters of Mobile Bay, one of which was a former blockade runner, and so that's how my interest came about. In 1864, 22 blockade runners attempted to enter Mobile Bay. 19 were successful. Their mission was to deliver war goods to the Confederate States of America.
In the spring of 1864, two sister ships were nearing completion at one of the oldest and most prominent shipbuilders in the world, Scott & Company's Cartsdyke Dockyards in Greenock, Scotland. The ship's hulls had been raised up side by side on adjacent dockyards, number 107 and number 108. They were the blockade runners, Ivanhoe and Red Gauntlet, iron paddle steamers, sleek, low profile, shallow draft, and fast, designed to evade U.S. warships that were blockading American seaports during the Civil War.
Ivanhoe slid in the water on March 25, 1864. She was 266 gross registered tons, 201 feet long and 20 feet wide with a draft of 9.5 feet. 3 weeks later, the virtually identical Red Gauntlet followed her into the water. Ivanhoe steamed to Cuba to load her first cargo of war supplies for the South. In late June, she departed Havana with arms, ammunition, and medicines. Her destination, the port of Mobile, Alabama.
4 days later, as she approached the entrance to Mobile Bay, her captain steered her through the shallow waters of the Swash Channel, close to the shoreline, under the protective guns of Fort Morgan. If Union ships threatened her, she could be beached and unloaded on friendly sand. At 11 p.m. June 30th, Ivanhoe was 2 miles east of Fort Morgan and gliding through the moonless night. Suddenly, a Union flare lit up the night sky. Ivanhoe went ahead full and raced toward the bay entrance just opposite the fort. Just 5 more minutes and she would be safely inside Mobile Bay. She gained speed. A bright orange cannon flash from a Union ship, and then the screaming whine of a projectile. Ivanhoe pressed on. Suddenly, her crew felt a massive jolt. She had run aground, and there she would stay.
In the first few days following her predicament, Admiral Farragut's ships tried their best to destroy her.
Confederate troops from Fort Morgan offloaded her cargo and salvaged her engine and equipment. Ivanhoe was visible for miles, sticking out like a sore thumb on the beach for all to see, a symbol of the Confederacy's defiance. In the early hours of August the 4th, Ivanhoe's sister ship, Red Gauntlet, steamed past her in the Swash Channel as she navigated toward the port of Mobile. Red Gauntlet's Captain Randall adjusted speed for entry into Mobile Bay before dawn. He hoped to catch Union lookouts half asleep. It was Red Gauntlet's lucky day. Randall was unaware that Union ships were preoccupied, preparing for the battle, scheduled for dawn the next day. She sneaked through the Swash Channel and steered to starboard around Mobile Point. At Fort Morgan, Captain Julian Whiting of the 1st Alabama Heavy Artillery stood atop Bastion No. 4, looking to the southwest. It was his responsibility to alert the garrison if the Union fleet began to move. Just before daylight, he noticed a gray-hulled vessel rounding Mobile Point. It was the blockade runner, Red Gauntlet.
Her cargo for the Confederacy was 25,000 pounds of lead, 63 sacks of coffee, 33 barrels of beef, 4 cases of harness leather, and 2 cases of stationery.
As she passed Fort Morgan and steamed up the bay, Captain Randall saw the lights from Great Point clear off Red Gauntlet's starboard bow. It was the Grand Hotel, now hospital, a place for healing and hope for a bleeding Confederacy. Red Gauntlet passed the point in the light fog of early morning. A Confederate surgeon stood at water's edge, taking a needed break from his all-night shift caring for the wounded. He glanced west across the water and saw the sleek vessel gliding swiftly northward toward Mobile. He couldn't know that it was Red Gauntlet and the last run of the last blockade runner to deliver Confederate war supplies to Mobile, Alabama. As she faded into the morning fog, her sister ship, Ivanhoe, was sinking slowly but surely into the sand on the beach just east of Fort Morgan.